appreciate the time that you have expended to come through. I would like, on behalf of AFICTA, to actually extend our gratitude to the moderator and panelists that are going to share with us their wisdom in today's session. And I think this is a very important topic, especially given to the situation that we are finding ourselves in the world, where we are undergoing digital transformation, and no one is asking then what happens throughout the whole life cycle when one goes through with actually using both the equipment, and also at the end of the day getting to a point where you have to dispose of the equipment that you have used throughout the whole process. No one asks the question as to what is it that we then do with this. And I think it's going to be very insightful to hear how we actually could tackle this, and what are the trends that are out there when it comes to digital e-waste. What happens then thereafter? I think this is very much aligned with our vision as we try to engage multi-stakeholders, and also ensure that this digital promise comes to many. We do not leave anyone behind. That's at the core of us as AFICTA. And we would like that for those who most probably have not yet joined us to make sure, I think our secretariat will share a link to make sure that you are always appraised with the activities, and also you can join us and join the community in actually sharing also your experiences and learning also from your peers. It's very important that at the end of the day, Africa itself, we elevate ourselves through a collaboration and making sure that we do not leave anyone behind while we go on this journey of a digital promise. Secretariat and moderator, I think I will, at this particular point in time, give this back to you. I will give the mic back to you, and enjoy the session and participate in the session. Ask questions and contribute as we go through the session. I thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will take my camera just to make sure that the bandwidth is not impacted as well. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on e-waste management, realizing circular economy and climate sanity. I'd like to grab the opportunity to thank AFICTA for organizing this important webinar, as it has a significant impact on our environment. Also would like to thank Ittisal for giving me this honor to lead this session with well-known and experienced speakers in the field. The panel will take around 50 minutes discussing this key topic and presenting some facts about the intersect between e-waste management, circular economy, and sustainability. So please, if you have any question, hand it on till the end of the presentation, and we will have 20 minutes for QA session for replying for all your inquiries. You can use the chat to write your questions as well. I'd like to welcome our very well selected, experienced speakers in the field. Engineer Khalid Ibrahim, Chairman, Chamber of Information Technology and Telecommunication. Dr. El Sayed Sabri, CEO, consultancy firm for environment, climate change, and sustainability. Engineer Ahmed Kamal, Executive Director of Environmental Compliance Office, FEI Technical Advisor. Engineer Muhammad Kamal, the founder and president of the Initiative Engineers for a Sustainable Egypt. Welcome, sirs. It's an honor to be with you today. Now I will start presenting some facts about e-waste management. So let me share my screen, please. So everyone is seeing the screen now?
Yes, please.
Yeah, perfect. Huda wants to say something. Yeah, tell me. Huda.
I think it's a hold hand.
No, I'm sorry. It was raised before my hand. I'm sorry because I was trying to translate something in French for someone of the attendants. The floor is yours. Yes.
Do you see my presentation now? Just confirm, Huda.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's in presentation mode.
Yes, we see it.
Perfect. Then the definition of e-waste management is a process to collect e-waste, recover and recycle material by safe methods, dispose of e-waste by suitable techniques to reduce its adverse impact on environment. Okay, electronic waste is leading to a loss of at least 57 billion US dollars annually, though the disposal is leading to a loss of at least $57 million, though the disposal of key raw materials such as iron, copper, gold, and others. Adopting circular models can help companies access untapped opportunities and lower environmental impact to address critical e-waste challenges. E-waste examples: ICT and telecommunication equipment, office electronics, large household appliances, small household appliances, consumer equipment, medical equipment, toys, and sports equipment. E-waste can be toxic. It accumulates in the environment, in the soil, air, water, and living things. For example, air burning and acid baths being used to recover valuable materials from electronic components release toxic materials leaching into the environment. As mentioned, electronic waste contains toxic components that are dangerous to human health, such as mercury, lead, etc. The negative health effects of these toxins on humans include brain, heart, liver, kidney, and skeletal system damage. But actually, we have more damages other than the challenges beyond human and health risks associated with e-waste include lack of recycling infrastructure, high cost and recycling difficulties, low recycling rates, enforcing regulations. The key is to implement circular economy business models than current economic systems that assume a constant supply of natural resources, resulting in a take, make, use, dispose linear model. Circular business models, on the other hand, focus on redesigning product service systems to enhance business capabilities and market competitiveness. A shift towards circular economy models can help companies not only access untapped financial and business opportunities, but also lower their overall environmental impact. For example,
move the slides. Move the slides.
It's moving for me. I don't know if it's stopped for connection things or not.
Moving on the screen.
No, it's only on definition. Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying again. Stop and reshare. Is it okay now?
Yes, yes, yes. It's okay. It's good now.
Actually, I passed almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So some facts and the digital impact and environmental impact, and I'm here right now. Okay. So to help realize the value from a circular economy model and address critical e-waste challenges, companies can leverage 3 alternative business models. The first one is shared economy models for electronics, The second one is product as a service, PaaS model for electronics. The third one is product ownership model utilizing PLE and design for recyclability, their principles. And the well-known one is reuse, by far the most environmentally e-waste disposal technique. And also, if we want to do the reuse and the take back, so we have to use the refurbishment and dismantling metal recovery technique. To success in that, we have to follow some success factors like the clarity. We have to have no ambiguity in the product and what's the produced, what's not produced, and so on. Capacity, investment in capacity to operate the APR system. Transparency in APR funds should be earmarked by financing or for financing the system. Accountability to ensure that the system is achieving its objective. Consultation from the stakeholders. We have to consult them prior the establishment of the system, and raise the awareness, because if people is not, or the public is not engaged in the topic, so it's not anymore worth thing. Thank you. And now I will start the panel asking our very special speakers. We'll start with Engineer Khaled. Sir, what are the important guidelines and precautions to take towards managing e-waste to avoid further harm to our environment? Also considering that most African nations have low purchasing power. What are the ripples effects of continuous reliance on used old equipment? What should be done to caution the effects of banning the importation of old used devices? And what's the impact of digital transformation on climate change, both positive and negative? The mic is with you.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. It is my pleasure to do this presentation. You know, the question is a bit complicated, but I'll try to make it easy for everybody. The issue of recycling really is a very important issue. And we have been able to deal with this issue in Egypt and try to find a way to deal with it. Unfortunately, if we're talking about Egypt as an example and the rest of Africa, we have a lot of challenges. The challenges are basically start from collecting and educating. Educating the consumer is the most difficult one, because educating the consumer is a major problem, because we can see in most of the countries that are not advanced that people tend to keep the old electronic equipment in their homes. They do not believe in recycling, even if they're not going to use it. They just keep it. So, and obviously this is also hazardous. So, so from education to collecting, and then after collecting comes disposing. And disposing, obviously you have to have a proper disposition of this material, and you have to have factories to recycle this material. In Egypt, we have the first factory that is doing that, but we really need to understand that there's a lot of steps to recycling. And having a factory for recycling costs a lot of money. It's about 500 million. The factory that we have in Egypt is basically doing one step or two steps before for recycling. So this is just to talk about the cycle. But when we're talking about the challenges, we also have to think about legislation, because the major problem is that obviously most of our countries believe that this is hazardous material. And they get, whenever you say hazardous material, they get scared of how we can handle that hazardous material. So sometimes they just ban it, okay? They ban export, they ban import. You know, like a country like Switzerland, for example, are importing e-waste. But obviously, if we have a factory like that in Egypt, in Africa, to help in recycling, we are going to run into problems because most of the African countries are having problems now in exporting and importing of the raw material to make the factories work. Because obviously, to make a factory, you need a lot of raw material to be able to break even and do the analysis on making sure that you are going to be a profitable business. So the challenge is really, as I mentioned, varies from education, collecting, legislation is very important. There's a lot of things that need to be done in this area. And I think that if we were able to, as African countries, do like some sort of, on a government level, do some sort of understanding, common understanding of how we should handle this, that would be an excellent opportunity for us to do that. So that comes the first. The second thing, obviously, is, you've already talked about the environmental impact. Unfortunately, there is a lot of people now, most of the electronic equipment has some gold and platinum and things like that. And people do it sometimes they try to get this material in a very, very bad way by burning them and all of that stuff. And that becomes very, very dangerous for the environment. So I think unless we all find the common ground to talk about it and talk about it openly, as we are doing right now in the panel, then it will be very difficult for us because time is running very quickly, and there is more. The problem get more signifying as we go. So I think we should all come together and figure out what we should do about it, and open more discussion in order for us to come to common understanding and common ground. So I thank you very much for the time, and I appreciate it. If anybody has a question, I'm ready to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So now, Dr. Syed,
Yes.
I would like to ask you about how could you see the sustainability addressed in e-waste management, and what's the effect of carbon waste in this concern, putting into consideration the role of governments and policymakers in this matter, and so on, and about the sustainability and intercept between digital transformation and the impact on the environment and the impact on e-waste, and how we can make the best use of this topic, even in Africa or worldwide, or even in Egypt, putting into consideration that we have in Egypt now a legislative law, it's 202 for year 2020, and it's talk about what's going on in the future about the waste generally and e-waste, and we are about to have the legislative part, the bylaw for this law, so we can handle it and control everything about the e-waste management in Egypt, and controlling it in a very, very, very systematic way. So the mic is with you now.
I propose to answer these questions through my presentation, if you let me.
Sure, sir.
Okay. First of all, regarding the digital enabled emissions reduction and decoupling the pathway from the emissions and the other way of economic growth. As it is mentioned here, the graph, there should be starting fixing the year 2015 from these emissions, and through the year 2030, there should be a decrease or reduction of the greenhouse gas by 12.1%. And this should be annual emissions reduction by 2030. I am going to speak very, very rapid, because I think this is obvious for all of you regarding the types of electronic waste, the fridge, freezers, and other cooling equipment. computers and telecommunication, internet, consumer electronic and solar panels, TVs, monitors, and other issues, LED bulbs or LED lamps, and finally vending machine. I'm going to make some highlights on the digital carbon footprint of our daily online activity. Each action we perform online has an environmental impact. Every time we send an email, use the internet or social media, a small amount of carbon is emitted. Regarding an overview on some digital carbon footprint figures, digital technologies are responsible for about 4% of greenhouse gas emissions, and its energy consumption is by 9% by year. By the way, this amount of greenhouse gas is more than the emissions of all the African continent. The internet emits 1.6 gigaton usual tons of greenhouse gas emissions. The communications and others represent 20% of all the world's energy consumption by 2025. More than 50 million tons of e-waste were produced in 2019 alone. That expected to rise by 8% each year, which is very, very important issue. It's urgent to make a change by using.
Sir, the slides are not shareable.
The mic is not working well.
The slides are not shareable. Share the slides, please.
Yes, but by the way, I choose from the beginning a certain question and to answer from the different questions at the beginning of making this session. I choose the relation between the digital transformation and the climate change.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. You have it as part of the question. You can answer it.
Regarding your question, I think it is related to the importance of legislations, and that include the incentives regarding the e-waste management and the e-waste.
And also the intercept, the relation between sustainability and digital transformation and so on. And
of course.
Yeah.
Because e-waste decrease also, if we make management of e-waste, it will decrease the harmful effect on the environment and on the health. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Should I continue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. It is urgent to make a change by using a responsible digital approach, both individually and within organizations. Reducing digital carbon footprint of our daily online activity, for example, in internet, has become an essential part of our lives. However, with the ever-increasing demand for internet services, the carbon footprint of the internet is also growing, and the environmental cost is becoming too high. Powering data centers, servers, and other ICT devices requires vast amounts of energy. This energy consumption results in greenhouse gas emissions from the generation of electricity, contributing to carbon footprint of internet usage. It is expected by 2025, the internet will account for about 20% of the world's electricity consumption and about 5% of the global carbon emissions. How to reduce this carbon footprint? We can use the Edge ONU company principle or example. For example, using the metro networks and renewable energy sources. We are going to the few slides about this. Regarding the example of Edge Uno company, regarding the metro networks, the metro networks bridge or connect geographically separated enterprise lands while also connecting across the one or backbone networks that are generally owned by service providers. The metro Ethernet networks provide connectivity or connecting device across metro network utilizing Ethernet core protocol and enable broadband applications. Edge Uno provides internet services through a single installation that serves the entire city or country. Its focus on optimizing metro networks instead of installing separate servers and network equipment for each isolated service provider in the same city. By using this application, Edge Uno production reduce amount of power and also spare required to provide internet services, thus reducing the carbon footprint of the internet. Regarding the renewable energy sources and the uses of these renewable energy sources, there are many benefits of using clean energy sources. First, cost savings. Renewable energy sources are slowly becoming more cost competitive when using to power data centers, can result in significant cost saving over time. Secondly, reduced environmental footprints. Renewable energy reduce carbon emissions, though reducing their cloud carbon footprint and contribute to a more sustainable future and good health. Increased energy independence. Renewable energy sources are widely available, ideal for powering data centers in remote locations, thus reducing reliance on these fossil fuel technologies emissions. Improved public image. Renewable energy sources to power data centers can improve the company's public image and its commitment to sustainability and thus increasing the brand loyalty of customer satisfaction. And finally, long-term reliability. Renewable sources more reliable over the long term, thus that can expect more consistent and predictable energy output, which can be critical for maintaining uptime and ensuring business continuity. ICT impact on climate change in Egypt. This is just a short, very short glance. Egypt is in ambitious stage of digital transformation where ICT lead to higher energy consumption and more harmful emissions. So Egyptian government has to work on increasing the efficiency of electricity production and optimizing unsustainable consuming process, providing the workers in the factories and the businesses with training about effective use of energy and investing in renewable energy. Egypt is leveraging economic reform that promote the transformation to environmentally friendly energy like wind, solar, and hydropower, electric power. Public campaigns should be done to encourage the culture of using between the individuals and the firms to increase their ability to regarding the energy efficiency in every day use. And finally, Egypt is trying to transfer to green mobile communication, thus reducing energy consumption, such as 5G technology, and foster innovation in ICT inventions that are friendly with environment and ICT that increase efficiency of energy usage. Thank you very much for that. I think this is the last one because there are another one here as I mentioned. Okay. I thank you very much for a good time to give it to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So now we'll pass the question to Engineer Ahmed Kamal. Sir, what should be the role of the government's academia, technical community, and civil in achieving a safe and circular economy through digital waste management? What do you think that we can do worldwide, not just in Egypt or Africa, or we have the cooperation together to handle this topic? And if you can see that there is something more that can be done to have a union or something like that, so we can handle this topic, this urgent topic together, and have a circular, and what's the injection back in the circular economy, and how to use all those resources and materials back in the economy, and not only for the Egyptian economy, but also for the African economy as well. Sir, do you hear me? I think is not connected. The mic is muted, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm trying to share my my presentation. So give me a minute. It's supposed to be shared from your side, actually. I agreed with Q2 yesterday. Can you share it?
Can I just?
Yeah, can you share it from your side?
Yes.
Thank you. This will help a lot. Okay, so can we go to first screen? Thank you. Next. Thank you. I'm Ahmed Kamal. Thank you for inviting me to share with you this very good and important webinar. I will try to stick with 10 minutes, I guess, as agreed for presentation. I'll be as fast as I can. First, let me tell you about our organization, because similar organization you see in all African countries. We represent the Federation of Egyptian Industry, which is the umbrella for industry in Egypt. It's since 1922, actually. It's a very old organization. We represent around 108,000 members now, all manufacturers in Egypt, and 19 industrial chamber, food, textile, ICT, of course, and metallurgy and other industrial sectors. Under Federation of Egyptian Industry, we have a unit for sustainability called Environmental Compliance Office and Sustainable Development. And this unit is the one who is taking care of all sustainability issues, the SDGs, climate change, and representing the private sector and industry in the negotiation delegation of climate change in COPs and then negotiation. Next, please. Okay, no, the one before that, please. Yes. So let me, I will try to go through the questions because thanks for Yasmin. You gave a very good introduction about the e-waste and some statistics. So let's go to the question directly. First of all, as the question is digital waste management can help in create a sustainable and circular economy? Yes, And simply the players for that will be governments, academia, technology community, and civil society. I will not elaborate much in civil society. I know that Mohammed will cover that. But from the government side, we in Egypt here come up with a waste management law. We come up with something called EPR, or extended producer responsibility. We're gonna explain it more during the presentation, and other regulations. So the government is role in that. In one is regulations, procedures, and enforcement for that. Academia, without having the research and innovation from the academia side, you will not reach a sustainability and circular economy. So we have connected academia in Egypt, American University, German University in Egypt, Cairo University. We have connected in one initiative for waste management and circular economy as well. And of course, electronic waste was one of the type waste that we are searching at in this initiative. Technical communities, we look for cooperation between industry, private sector, and academia, governments. And this is a program called e-Tadwir. This is one of the initiatives that come up in Egypt here, and it's very successful one so far. We're gonna explain more during the presentation. Of course, civil society, as I said, Mohammed will cover that much. Their role is very important and is essential in reaching our target in sustainable and circular economy. Please, next. Okay. The question for effectively manage e-waste and minimize environmental impact. We have some action has been taken in that. Some of it to a very extended level have been taken in Egypt, and we see opportunity in many other countries. And we have been in contact with Kenya, we have been in contact with South Africa, we have been in contact in Nigeria, some similar organization, and we have talked on those actions. First, reduce and minimize. So we have to take actions for how we educate consumers to minimize and reduce the number of electronics they are using. So when you reduce and minimize the consumption, you reduce and minimize, of course, the waste after the e-waste after that. Reuse, it's very important also to educate the consumers for it. Recycle, and again, from the design in circular economy, you have to design the product to be able to for recycle, and raise the awareness and advocate for the public and for responsible e-waste management. Next, please. Here is I'm not saying a dilemma, but it's you have seen that in different countries worldwide. Between technology insufficient or inefficiency, limited access to newer innovations, that goes to or result some of the countries that they use an old technologies, which is create and more e-waste, increase maintenance and repair costs, which also create more e-waste. Of course, and we see that in many of the European countries, the environmental concerns, they export their old equipments to other nations, while we have an opportunity in recycle of those wastes. So let us not only think in preventing importing used equipments because it's waste, but we have also opportunity, as Mr. Khalid said, if we can create the business here in African countries of recycle and disposal of some of the electronic waste, you will come up with many valuable metals like gold, like copper, like silver, and those metals are, of course, they have a value, a very good value, and it has a stock market and it's increased worldwide now. Keep in mind that what's happening now in Egypt and in some other African countries, that they export their waste, electronic waste, to France or to Korea or some other countries who is doing the recycle of electronic waste and getting the valuable, very valuable metals out of it. So it's a kind of business for our private sector that can also do that in our African countries. Please, next. Okay. Let's say the important, all unused goods promote local manufacturers and assembly, support sustainable trade practice. Between those things, I think it's very important that countries look for how to manage the e-waste with a good economic payback. So it's not only disposal, it's how to come up with the value from the e-waste we have. It's not something completely negative. It has a business behind it. You have opportunity in getting an economic payback after from this e-waste. Please. Next. Okay. Let's put some initiatives came to Egypt here. We have something called e-Tadweer. E-Tadweer is the initiative between the government, the private sector, represented by FEI ECO, and some industrial factories here in Egypt. And how we do that how the initiative is working. It's we have an application called e-Tadweer. This application asking the domestic, the people to when they have an old electronic equipment, they put in the application the age or the model or some photos for the equipment. It could be a mobile, it could be a screen, it could be an old computer. And we as FEI ECO agreed with some of famous hypermarkets and companies here to give vouchers for encouraging people to donate their old equipment, old electronic equipments. So what's happening is that we collect when a domestic or when a person put his old equipment on the application, they get a voucher for buying a new clothes or buying a new digital equipment, a new electronics or something like that. And we collect those old equipments, the e-waste, and we give it to, we have 11 recyclers now, what you call it, accredited by the authority in Egypt, that they are allowed to do an environmental recycling process for the e-waste, and the rest of the parts that's not recyclable, we follow up with them that they export outside. Like some of ports are very sophisticated to do that. We have also EPR, extended producer responsibility, and which is a very simple. It's well known outside and applied in many countries, even applied in some of the African countries. And it's in our regulation law now that we add for a certain amount of money over the price for electronic equipments, either manufactured or imported from outside. And this certain amount of money supposed to be go to the environmental authority, who will be responsible for an environmental and safe way of managing the electronic waste in future. Also, we use some of the companies for out of their CSR or corporate social responsibilities and sustainable reporting, which is very requests now by stock market in Egypt, by banking system, by many of the official agencies that agencies or companies or banks or everyone has to report about their sustainability and ESG, we call it. Please, next. Okay. Here, again, we look for two things: policy and regulatory measures. We do that in Egypt to a level, to extended level, and public awareness and education also. We are doing that in general in waste management, and in particular in e-waste. We have a couple of programs in Egypt now that helps in both areas, and we also putting a very ambitious plan for future for enlarging the initiatives we have for e-waste management, and how we can make better use of e-waste or waste or electronic consumptions before we have it as electronic waste in future. Please. Okay. Government standards can reduce the carbon footprint. This was one of the questions we have in designing of this webinar. I do believe that Dr. Said has been elaborating in it, but again, it's energy efficiency standards. We have that as targets in our laws now. Renewable energy adoption also it's requested now, and it's very economic visible with the new prices of the electricity and energy now. E-waste management and circular economy also, it's by the EPR and the other waste regulations. The new one in year 2020 will enforce that as well. Research and development funding, allocated funding. Also, government can fund innovative solution to reduce internet carbon footprint, which is something now after as Egypt is the presidency of COP27, we call it African COP. We have also allocated, we look for a fund from GCF for such programs as well. Next, please. Okay, circular economy, as we in e-waste has a lot of impact. E-waste management has a lot of inputs also in circular economy. Circular economy will help in managing your e-waste in future, starting from the design, starting from use as a material used in manufacture the electronic goods or electronic equipments, putting systems like EBR also in place will encourage the producers to design products for easier recycling and recovery, as I said, using different materials, using different procedures for manufacture. Also promote reuse and repair, which is also government can help in develop some reuse markets to encourage consumers to repair and extend the life span of electronic devices. This will reflect in reuse and reflect in the amount of e-waste you generated in future. Next, please. Okay, thank you. And as I said, looking forward for questions, and I will be happy for responding for it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I also would like to add that Egypt has a curriculum, a very designed and well-designed curriculum about refurbishment and e-waste management, and it's already applied now in technical universities and even in schools, technical schools, and so on. And this is a part of the citizen engagement. So we are having a very kind and professional initiative towards the sustainability and Egypt sustainability 2030, or the vision for Egypt 2030. Okay, so now we are moving to Engineer Mohammed Kamal. Sir, through your experience in working with youth directly through your initiative, and the initiative supported by Ministry of Planning in Egypt, how would you see the role of NGOs, private sector, and public initiatives in helping the government to raise the awareness as well as having the citizen engagement toward this concern, and how it will impact in our economy and generally in the economy worldwide?
Thank you, Yasmin, for your questions, and I will answer these questions by three initiatives that I will talking today about them. First, I will start my presentation. That's a brief bio about me. My name is Mohammed Kamil, and I am the founder and the president of Engineer for Sustainable Egypt, and ambassador for sustainable development from the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development and the Institute for Governance and Sustainable Development. And I am working as an instructor in Egyptian University. First of all, actually, NGOs and the private sector and the initiatives has a significant role of enhancing the citizen engagement and do raising awareness to different categories of population towards e-waste management and its challenge. And also we can invest in human capital. In this chart, we are in Egypt. We are so lucky in Egypt that we have the most segment in Egypt is about youth and children. So we invest in human capital a lot as a professor in university. We can working to make a lecture or workshop or a training program for awarenesses of the culture of e-waste and circular economy, and how to make use of those and can enhance to make a student make a graduation project. This graduation project have innovation solution to handle the challenges that facing e-waste management. The second point I will, or the first point I will talking about very big initiatives that launched by the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development and the National Institute of Governance and Sustainable Development, NIGSD, in a cooperation with a number of universities and ministries under a title of Ambassador of a Sustainable Development. This initiatives aims to build the capacity of Egyptian professionals in sustainable development, and the program cover an array of topics and fields. Many of topics such as such environmental protection, and the main topic that circular economy as a tool to achieve a sustainable development. This training program is divided into 3 levels. The first level is introduce personality skills and the value of sustainable development through a total 10 hours of training material provided in a platform called Istidama. The second level is specialized level. This level is comprised of 11 pre-recorded lectures available on this platform Istidama, as well serious discussion conducted over Zoom by various professional and sustainable development topics. The last level is a professional level. This level prepare the participants through a training of trainer TOT program that enables them to be ambassador of sustainable development and spreading its idea and implementing their field of work. The second initiatives that this initiatives especially for children. This initiatives launched by the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development named Green Minds. Green Minds initiatives aims in its first phase to train about more than 1,000 students at level of 5 different schools in Cairo, Cavern Road. The initiatives adopted comprehensive methodologies that ensure that each child and student to build a sustainable behavior and supportive environment in its various social circles. The last initiatives I will talking about is the Engineers for Sustainable Egypt. This initiatives ESE is willing to take part in building capacities and preparing celebrities inside the engineering community to be able to spread and apply the sustainable development goal in various activities, especially within the field of production and services. ESE is specialized initiatives that target engineering and engineering students and the related bodies in order to spread awareness with concept of sustainable development and its application inside the engineering community within and over various projects. So this is this picture from our workshops and our training programs that we are making before in many universities and many cities. This workshop we are making in the student with recycling to awareness about the waste and to make recycling from this waste from wood and tires car. And that is the final product from the workshop that we are made for with the student. During the past period, we are working to raising awareness with the concept and the goal of sustainable development and waste management and the problem of climate change. That was through holding a number of seminar, workshops, and training in the university. The last, we are launched a simulation model of COP27 under the name of the route from Glasgow to Sharm el Sheikh. This simulation model was carried out by ESE in cooperation with several local and international bodies and with the participation of 70 countries and more than 1,000 participants from around the world that came in the light of Egypt hosting the COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh. The simulation model aimed to empowering youth from around the world and getting them involved with the most demanding issue facing their countries. The last, or finally, I will talking about the e-waste and the goals, achieving the goals, SDG goals. E-waste management closely relate to many SDG, such as SDG 8 on decent work and economic growth, and SDG 3 on good health and well-being, and the SDG 6 on clean waste and sanitation, and SDG 14 on live flow water. That is all. I think I answer your question, and if any question, I will be happy. Thank you for your time, and you can answer. I can answering any question that will come to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for all the speakers for the valuable information. And I'll just give a resume for the session and for the speakers now, and then later on we can go to the QA session. So according to OECD organization, we have 6 categories for e-waste definition and categories. It goes to temperature exchange equipment, screens, lamps, large equipment, small equipment, and a small IT. And the impact, the main problem going to huge cost to health sector and waste of country resources, environmental pollution. The main fact of the problem exactly in every country, it goes to the problem for the logistics and location, for the collection and the heavy financial taken to transfer the waste from part to part, the informal sector that's working in more than one country, and it takes the huge percentage of participation, and the recycling itself to raise or to reach the final profitable parts like gold and copper and so on. And it goes to directly inject in the economy, inject in the digital transformation, and inject in the environment. There are a lot of global statistics all speakers talk about, and we can for example say that it's about tons and tons of mobiles and computers and devices like washing machine and so on. It's coming out, especially in the nearest future, and currently in the present, because of the extremely engaging in the new technologies and in the new habits of life. And also we have the facts of taking the financial inclusion as part of the sustainable development, and it's raising the social impact and education and imports inside the SDGs sustainable development pillars that affect the e-waste management and its health. And also we must to take this initiative, or to take this industry from better to better. We have to have success factors, and we have to have benchmarks in order to measure the significant improvement that we have. And in order to engage the public with us, we have to raise the awareness and invest in the human capital in order to engage them together with the government. And we have joined forces together to handle this huge topic and huge problem that we all face, not even in Egypt, but or in Africa. It's also worldwide. Now I'll go to the questions. We have 2 questions here. One is saying that, is there a way to make a cheaper e-waste recycling system such that it can generate startups that are not discouraged from participating? So I'm raising the question and I'm waiting who's from the speaker will take this question.
Yeah, if I can take this one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. E-waste management is an integrated process. So it's not a business for one private sector. It's many processes or processes to reach the management. So some of it is very suitable for entrepreneurs, for small businesses, and some of it needs, as Mr. Khalid said, a very huge investment. So yes, you can do some business as an entrepreneur in collecting, in segregation, in some transformation, and some very preliminary process in e-waste recycling. And of course, as I said, you can have good business as private sector and entrepreneur, although that you don't do the whole process. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The second question we have is why is erasure of personal information included only at recycling and not at the donation and reuse stage? So who's willing to reply for this question? I think that Dr. Said can help us in this part because of the digital reuse and the donation and so on, and as well as Engineer Ahmed can help us in that.
Sorry, can you repeat the question because the connection was not.
Why is erasure of personal information included only at recycling and not at the donation and reuse stage? I think that the meaning is about refurbishment and reuse, as I mentioned in the very beginning of the session. And they are talking about information about refurbishment and how to do it, mainly, if I might understand the question. If not, if you
the question is totally right. The point that when we started that in past, the prices was not that much in many things, raw material, in final goods price, or so. With the new economic problems in worldwide, it's the need become more into repairing and reuse of the equipment. But the problem is that in past, it was because the prices and everything, it was much easier to renew or to buy new equipment and to generate e-waste. But nowadays, because the equipment and the prices is very high and the economy is very difficult worldwide, so you will see more studies and more research and more governmental support, as I said in my presentation, for creating a reuse market and supporting a reuse industry as well.
Thank you, sir. The third question is about what's the relationship between sustainable waste management and climate change, and how much does recycling greenhouse gas emissions? So I might add something in this answer, and then I'll rely on the speakers. There are a lot of intersection between sustainable waste management and climate change, because if you if you are using a very wrong way at burning the parts that you take from the devices, it will harm the climate and will lead to climate change, and as we see now, the raising for temperature and so on, and winter and summer and summer and winter and so on. Also, we can find some bad habits at throwing those parts in the ocean and so on, and it's harming the creatures inside the ocean and so on, and this is also bad. About the greenhouse and green funds and green, also we can use the recycling. It's not only by recycling the parts itself, but also we can use the recycling in financial inclusion, as I said previously, because it takes us to hold green bonds, green bills, and so on, and it will affect your economy in a very positive way. And then I'll rely for our speakers to continue the answer. Who would like to answer this question?
You mentioned the importance of the e-waste management in relation to climate change, but also I want to add something regarding the importance of ICT to reducing the emissions, because we are using it. For example, if we are using applications for transport, as we see that it can minimize the time consumed to search for a car or to search for a certain transport way, and this can reduce the emissions that will happen from this mean of transportation. In the case of, for example, in using the IT applications in remote sensing regarding the climate change adaptation, and warning the farmers from something that happened tomorrow, or windstorm or rainfall. In such case, we can minimize the damage of these called extreme events that will happen by the climate change. And in such case, we benefit from using the IT application or ICT applications, and through reducing the carbon footprint and the carbon emissions. So we have two issues. One part you have already mentioned regarding the benefits of using better e-waste management to reduce the carbon emissions, and another way to benefit from the use of different applications, IT applications and the digital applications, to first to reduce the carbon emissions, and secondly to avoid the bad impacts or the expected impacts from the climate change, like the extreme weather events for the different sites, particularly in the remote areas.
Thank you, sir.
One small.
Yeah.
Yeah. One small thing. As it's what you call it, a new world indicator now for everything, for we as human, for jobs, for industry, for businesses, is a carbon footprint. So it's very straightforward relationship between the amount of e-waste you generate and your carbon footprint, as banks, as business, as industry, as even an individual. So of course, the amount of use electronic equipment and the amount of generating e-waste out of your organization will affect your carbon footprint as indicator now for everything. So yes, to answer your question and add to our expert in climate change, Dr. Said, carbon footprint as indicator is very straightforward, connected to the electronic equipment you use and the e-waste you generate. Thank you.
Can I add something? I think that also carbon footprint is a part of the overall environmental footprint, which is, as Engineer Ahmed mentioned.
And I can go more deeper. Recycling helps reduce the greenhouse gas emission by reducing the energy consumption. So using the recycled materials to make new products reduces the need for virgin materials you can take from the environment. And
yes,
it avoids greenhouse gas emission that would result from extracting or mining virgin materials. And this is the main problem that we have. Thank you. So the other question that we have now, it's about how many African governments hold the equipment producers to take care of their waste by building recycling plants across Africa. So I can answer this question first, and then later on I can hand on our experts. We have up to now 5 countries emerging in this African countries emerging in this concept and building their planets across Africa. But still we don't have the well-designed one up till now, as it's still new concept for the African governments right now. So maybe in the near future we will have a very mature experience later on. And now I can handle the question, or I can hand on the question for our speakers. Anyone can add or wants to add something? Okay, so let's move to the next question. The next one, what kind of measures can the government implement to address the issues of negligent disposal of e-waste by individuals and companies? So
yeah, EBR system is one of the measures. You tracing equipments, putting what you call it, energy
extended producer.
Yeah, no, EBR is one of the system, and the other system is
EBR is extended
tag.
producer responsibility.
Extended producer responsibility. I thought that because we explained it in my presentation. But anyway, EBR, extended producer responsibility, is one of the measures from the government. The other measure is the equipment name tag. So for tracing the equipments during the lifetime of the consuming it and for the disposal as well. The data from imported and manufactured electronics, this will also help in tracing that. Thank you.
Do you mean also the labeling of devices, labeling of equipments like fridge or air conditions?
They are asking about the measurement.
No, I just commenting to Engineer Ahmed. He spoke about what's called the labeling of devices and appliances. Because I mean, this green one or green label and brown labels about the consumption, the energy consumption of the different appliances. Because if we choose that one with green tag, even if it is a little bit more expensive, but it will be energy efficient, and it will use a smaller amount of energy, and of course it will go to reduction of the emissions more than that one which is not green with the green label.
Moving to the next one, it's about how can you help other African countries to adopt your e-waste management solution it's possible to have a common forum where all countries in Africa can seek for help and your support to achieve their management program. I second that. Yeah, really, we need to join forces together in order to have a very well-designed system that we can help in this topic. So
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
We are doing similar programs in different topics like circular economy and some other carbon emission reductions from different industries. I think, but we have we have to have a platform for sharing this information. I think this could be one of the output of our webinar today, that AFECTA can create this kind of platform. We as Environmental Compliance Office and Sustainable Development can share many of the past experience in this kind of business. And we connect also some of our Egyptian experts here in this field with some of the African representatives as well. So I think any kind of platform can be created by AFECTA can help in that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I support such suggestion by Engineer Ahmed Kamal, because the ECO is very active regarding these environmental issues and climate change, and I support the partnership with the AFECTA and the other private sector entities in Egypt in making this and sharing in the platform.
And also, it's not about private sector. It can be also with NGOs, with governments together, because we are living in one earth. So we have to join forces all together. Also, if we are using the digitization to use that knowledge or the knowledge management system, so we can transfer all the knowledge we need across all countries together. So we have no more questions.
All right, please, can I quickly come in? Kindly participate in the ongoing poll. Would like to have your responses. Thank you.
Okay, so we don't have, there are no more questions here. So I can give them like 1 minute to finish all the assessment poll that you are going. And if anyone have any question popped up, so we can take it before finishing our session.
I just want to encouraging the idea of promoting the increasing the awareness regarding this issue, because this issue is still even in Egypt and of course in the other African countries is not yet tackled in the very efficient way. That's why I think increasing the awareness regarding the issue of e-waste management, also the eco design of the equipments. Even the African countries not in that state of designing a new equipments, and it is until now from the industrialized countries. But increasing this through the research and innovation through the academia and the research centers, it's also important to have some solutions to our problems through the research centers and the academia.
Actually, we need the innovative solutions from our very well and intelligent people here in Africa, because we have very virgin minds, and we can always receive through the application that AFECTA will do, or through the I don't know how to call it, if it's a forum or something like that. So we can always raise ideas, innovative ideas and innovative solutions, and we can join venture together to do it, and how to apply it. We can discuss it together, and we can have a proposal for our countries in order to get rid of this problem soon. Especially that has a very negative impact on our environment. So now successfully we finished our webinar. We have no more questions. All our speakers were very well organized and expressed the topic. I think that, or we hope that it's all clear now for everyone, and I'll pass the mic to Affecta to finish this webinar. And thank you all for being together today. It's been an honor to be together and to be with you today. Hopefully that you enjoyed that webinar.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Yasin. Yasmi, we really appreciate your intervention today. Thank you for leading and providing a moderation role at this event. We want to appreciate all our good standing members. Just as we can see, we have the logos being displayed right now. But most importantly, we want to appreciate ETESA for this support. This event has been a success. We want to appreciate all the efforts which you channeled into it. So I also want to say thank you to all our panelists and Dr. Oda. Thank you so much, Dr. Oda, for availing yourself. We had a very wonderful event eventually. So before I hand it over to the chair of AFICTA for final word and word of appreciation, I want to also thank the vice chair of North Africa for all the support we got while the whole preparation was going on. Thank you so much, even though we don't have him here right now. So thank you, everyone, all our participants. Thank you for staying all through the event. And I hope you have gained one or two things. We would be getting back to you with necessary information, all the presentation made, and link to the video for this event. I'll just invite the chair to round it up. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for this session. And merci à tous. Looking forward to see you all in our next events. Have a great day.
Many thank you, Hoda, and many thank you, Yasmin, and everyone. And it's very well organized, well represented, and thank you for our audience for also for their anticipation. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Many thanks to Dr. Hoda, and many thanks for all the audience and our colleagues as presenters. And really, I am proud to share in this webinar, and I hope to be beneficial. And I am already benefit from the discussion to increase my knowledge regarding this issue.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you. I would like to extend our gratitude to moderator and the panelists. Thanks very much. And we also highly appreciate all the attendance to the session. I've seen there's also questions about how to find out more information about AFICTA. If you can just look on the chat and also reach out to the Secretariat. I think the next challenge is also to implement most of the ideas that have been put here. I think panelists, can you please give the Secretariat your presentations so that they can be distributed and to have the attendees to also reach out so that we can implement from what has been said here, and we can share going forward. I highly appreciate your attendance, and thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.